bets here, side and total analysis, please, for Minnesota and Cincinnati.
Early in the week, when it was 3.5, like 110, closer to that number, it was, I like Minnesota at more than a field goal, a team that likes to play a lot of really close games. I feel like the Bengals are probably trading at like a really high price right now for them because of the two performances that Jake Browning has had. So those things in combination, right? Like Bengals probably perception-wise good. Number more than 3 with a team that plays close games is pretty appealing. If it got back to that tomorrow, like 3.5, 110, 115, I think Minnesota's okay at that price as a play on, honestly, with Jefferson and his status. The total in the game is just interesting for this reason, real quick. We saw what the Raiders did last night, and I think everyone had the same thought based on what we'd heard going into the game. The Vikings shut out this team, and the perception of the Vikings defense the last few weeks has been that they've been playing at a really, really high level. I don't know how much of that is like smoke or just circumstance, like just that they happen to play a couple of good games in a row. But man, like if they're actually that good, then a game that kind of seemed like an over game to me with a team like Cincinnati, maybe it isn't. So just like a little skeptical now about like what side of the total I'd bet. 3.5, if it appears for Minnesota, would be a bet for me.
I think, Ken, I'm with you here on this, on the 3.5 for Minnesota, but need like a 3.5 in order to make the bet on the Minnesota Vikings. Yeah, so I honestly, I hate to say it, but I don't think there's a lot going on in this game. Like, I know, it's easier to stomach on a Sunday when there's a million other games, not because it's an island game. All these games are island games. I'll have some props on this game. Unless it's Minnesota plus 3.5 minus 110, I'm not going to have a bet on the side or total. Indy is a 1.5 point home favorite. The total is 42.5. And for Pittsburgh, the Steelers getting good injury news over the course of the week. Both TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith will play for the Steelers. Both their best pass rushers, Watt clearing concussion protocol, both will play. Kenny Pickett out. Mitch Trubisky gets another start. And just in case fantasy players like Holden, I hope Jonathan Taylor is going to be back. Maybe he will be, but it won't be this week. The big boss, Zach Mouse, gets another start at running back for the Colts. Ken, bets here, please, for Indy and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think with Watt and Highsmith confirmed playing and the spread existing in this range, this is gift wrapped for a 2-team 6-point teaser. Steelers 1.5 to 7.5. It's by far the best teaser game I think on the board this week. There are a couple other options to pair it with, just because we won't do this with Denver and Detroit at all. Kansas City 8-2 would be probably my favorite. So basically like Mahomes to beat the Patriots, Steelers to lose by 7 or less, to need out off the New England game with extra time. I mean, it's just like I feel very confident that they'll at least be competitive in the game. I don't know if they're going to win or not, probably goes down to the wire, whatever. So I like that traditional one. If you want something just for the game, I almost never do this, but the way the numbers set up, I kind of like it. Steelers to 7.5 with over 36.5. So you get under 37 on the total. Sort of like a key number in that range for total. So you get under that amount to play over. So you'd play a 2-team 6-point teaser and you take the Steelers and the over, as long as the total is 42.5 or less. And the side obviously fits as well. So nothing like 1.5, 42. I like the over in the game. I'll probably have a couple bucks on it, but I kind of like manipulating it with these teasers a lot more.
If you had to pick the winner of the game, what would you want to do?
Now that those guys are playing, I'd probably pick Pittsburgh.
It's really tough, right? I wanted to bet Indy earlier in the week, and it feels like now with Watt and Highsmith playing, feels like it's a little bit of a trickier proposition. The Detroit Lions, 4.5 point home favorites against Russell Wilson, Sean Payton, #our guys, and the Denver Broncos. The total in the game has been bet up to 48. Now, the stuff that we'll have to monitor here going into tomorrow night, I actually think this does matter as far as the point spread. Not the point spread, but betting the game is concerned. The Lions have really been struggling on offense. The offensive line has been decimated by injuries to a degree here. It looks like Frank Ragnow, star center and star tackle Taylor Decker, both are going to be back tomorrow night, helping to protect Jared Goff at home here. I think that matters. Doesn't mean I'm going to bet Detroit. I'm looking to get talked into something here on this game. So, Ken, maybe you can do it. Lions 4.5 at home, total of 48.
Yeah, I think I read the same thing you did about the offensive line. I'm kind of proceeding like they're playing as they participate.
Both practiced in full today.
Right.
Yep, both practiced in full.
Because they practiced. And this is pretty square. I really like the over in this game. It's 48. It's a really high number, to be fair, in modern NFL. You're going to put Lions off a terrible game at home with the offensive line back. The scoring conditions in these home games for Detroit have already been electric the whole time. I think Russell Wilson trailing can actually have a lot of success generating explosive pass plays down the field. Gets Denver out of this conservative under game plan that they've been in for 4 or 5 weeks. I think the Lions race out and the Broncos have to catch them. The side of the game I have no opinion on, honestly. I think it's probably I kind of agree with it, honestly. But I do like the over, a bit of a square bet, but 48, yeah, I'm in.
Is there, just because people ask, is there a buy point for like both teams on this game? Or like, I'm assuming you'd bet Denver
I think
plus
we're like
6.
halfway. I think we're halfway to it. Like 3, I'd bet the Lions, and 6, I'd bet the Broncos. Yeah.
I think I agree. Brad, the Saturday night's main event. Lions and the Broncos from Motown. Anything here?
Yeah. Oh, God, I got way too much, honestly. It's mandatory that it takes something on David Montgomery. Mandatory Montgomery at Jackals. Anytime touchdown there. And if you want to parlay that with the Lions straight up in the money line, this seems like kind of a get-right spot for them. I would do that, or maybe you take the total down and hit the over. I kind of like the over on the standard total. Last I saw it there was at 48.5. Hell, I play that sucker up to like 51.5, 52.5. This game could be the highest scoring affair of the entire weekend of NFL games. They're not going to go full Raiders Chargers like we witnessed last night, but it could wind up in the 60s in this one. So yeah, I love David Montgomery in that anytime touchdown market. So see what you can get on that. And again, if you want to parlay with something, reduce the juice and get seduced by the juice, I totally, absolutely recommend it. Elsewhere in that game, Sam Laporta is going to do some serious work because the Denver Broncos are allergic to covering the middle of the field and trying to contain opposing tight ends. I took him on the over at 46.5 receiving yards at BetMGM. I took him on the over as well on 4.5 receptions. You want to put that together in SGP, certainly would support it. Denver number 20 in EPA pass defense and giving up 6.2 catches per game and over 69 receiving yards per game just to the tight end position. And you know Jared Goff loves to look Laporta's way, averaging 7.1 targets per game. He's also number 7 in yards per route run.
LA Bowl next. And I had to ask in the last segment, Colin, this is how out of it with bowls I am. I was like, Los Angeles or Louisiana or something else. Like what LA Bowl? Okay, great. UCLA is playing in it, so I guess I should have known the answer. They're playing Boise, and there's been a lot of interest in the Bruins, I think, since open. I think we went over that in the last segment as well. They are now a 5.5 point, 6 in some places, favorite over Boise State. The total is 48.
Yeah, this is now sponsored by Rob Gronkowski. So if you like hearing him sing the national anthem and doing a twerk, is what it says, that's what you would tune in for. Now, this game for me is an under, and I can make a case for UCLA here on the side. There's a lot of talk about how UCLA lost Latu, their best pass rusher. They're kind of a mess on offense. They've lost some key players in their secondary, but that's not the handicap in this game. The handicap in this game is, can you stop Ashton Jeanty, the running back for Boise State, who has gone over 100 all-purpose yards in his last 4 games? He's absolutely on fire. And the thing that I get worried about, the reason why I would side with UCLA in this one, is because if you look at Ashton Jeanty's game, it comes completely from inside zone. Boise doesn't have Taylon Green. He's hit the portal. He's gone his way to Arkansas. They're going to run with a quarterback, C.J. Tiller, true freshman. He's never ran inside zone. I went and watched his high school tape for an hour. He doesn't run inside zone. So you're not going to be scared of Ashton Jeanty running the ball whenever it's the zone read. It's like, where's the defender going to go? He's going to go to Ashton Jeanty. So, and also this quarterback, CJ, I've never seen him pass in the flats to Ashton Jeanty. He runs a lot of wheel routes out of the backfield. So I think there is a path for a UCLA front 7 that was able to maintain their best run stoppers to stop Boise here. What happens on the UCLA offensive side? I don't know. They'll get us enough points. I like a first half under. I also like UCLA here.
All right, and let's close here, Colin. The last bowl game coming up tomorrow, the Independence Bowl with Texas Tech and Cal. Red Raiders, a 3.5 point favorite. The total is 58.
Yeah, this bowl game's gross. There's a lot of players on both sides. I'm sorry. I love bowl season, and you're never going to hear me say there's too many games, but this one's gross. There's so many players in the portal on both sides. I think what you need to pay attention to is Jaden Knott, the star running back for Cal, made an announcement. I think it was on this morning on Twitter about how he is going to keep playing at Cal. He'll be in the bowl game. That is one of the best skill positions that's going to be in this game right now. My problem with Cal, I'm going to take Cal first half. That's the bet. But my problem with Cal is that their offense is coached by one man, and it's their offensive line coordinator. They have no quarterback coach. Their tight end coach left for UC Davis. Their coordinator's gone. He's at Baylor. Really, what are the halftime adjustments that's going to come out of Cal? They have an offense that can score, can move down the field on this Texas Tech defense. But what are the adjustments that you're going to make at halftime when you only have one guy coaching the offensive side? So I'm going to take Cal in the first half in this game. Maybe live bet the second half. I don't know. 30 missing players when you combine them both. It's a lot, but I do like Cal on the offense in the first half.
All right, BC, let's talk about the fights coming up. And let's start with the main event, right, with Leon Edwards against Colby Covington, who's like a mega heel, sounds like here. Edwards is the favorite, minus 160 at BetMGM. Covington at plus 130. And BC, obviously, there's a bunch of different ways you can play the fight, like who's going to win, how many rounds, like will it go to a decision or not, like will it be a knockout, etc. How are you looking to play the main event coming up of UFC 296?
Look, Vegas is always right, and I understand that. But at the end of the day, I don't necessarily fully understand why this fight is so close in the odds. And let me be fair here. Colby Covington is durable, and you can love him or hate him. His wrestling is top-notch. But this is a fighter who's most famous for his performances in 2 title-losing fights against Kamaru Usman. 2 fights that he fought his ass off. 2 fights that he helped really sell through the hatred between them. But Colby Covington's also not a finisher. And if there's criticism against him, a lot of people will say something that actually is fact. He hasn't beat a ranked welterweight since 2019, going back to Rafael Dos Anjos. So he's kept himself in the news, largely fighting once a year, by being that heel and being that villain. So what does he do great? Of course, bringing the fight to the ground, keeping you there, high volume striking, and really has some of the best cardio in the sport. Also an incredible chin, so the idea of this fight going the distance certainly leans in that favor. But what about Covington coming over the top and winning the fight? That's really where I have the issue on this line being so close. He's not a finisher. He's never been known as a striker more than just the volume. Yeah, volume, he can back you up. He can overwhelm you. But can you finish a guy like Leon Edwards, a guy that we have underrated along this journey to him finally getting the title shot, which of course was that rematch with Kamaru Usman, right? The last time Rocky Edwards, that's his nickname, lost. You got to go back to 2015, the first time he fought Kamaru Usman. A 12-fight unbeaten streak since then. But when he finally got that championship opportunity, he said the 3 words, headshot dead. He landed the high kick in the 5th round that knocked out Usman, who was pound-for-pound king at the time, undefeated, and he followed it up in the immediate rematch, which was their trilogy fight. And that's the last time we saw him, a competitive but clean decision across the board. What makes Rocky Edwards great? Well, how about this? He's well-rounded completely across the board. And that's something maybe that we held against him and not realizing on his initial rise how good he is. But poise is a huge part of his game. Timing, speed, but most importantly, he doesn't make mistakes. So we're looking at Colby Covington, who could he take Edwards down? Yes. So did Kamaru Usman at times. But Covington also not known for a great top game from the standpoint of delivering damage. Covington is about wearing you out, controlling the terms of the fight, not lay and pray, a term that is a negative term in the MMA sport. But yeah, he could take this fight to the ground. But is he a submission threat? No. Is he a big ground and pound knockout threat? No. So is this fight going to go the distance? Probably. But I really think across the board, Leon Edwards is just too talented, too poised, and maybe we missed it on the way up, but this guy's Rocky story has been incredible. He's still in his peak of his absolute prime now in his 2nd title defense. I like Leon Edwards to win, but the real sort of, piss in the water, I don't know, that's a bad, I don't know now what analogy I'm going for here. But I don't know if you guys saw the press conference on Thursday, but Colby Covington dug deep, referenced Edwards' late father, said he's going to send him to hell to meet him, all this BS stuff that led to Edwards throwing the bottle at him. Is that enough to get Leon Edwards off his game, guys? Or is that maybe enough to get Edwards to focus even deeper on trying to finish this guy? The better bet is that this goes the full 5 rounds because of Covington's chin and his gas tank. But Leon Edwards is a guy who I missed up along the way, and I'm here to smarten up and tell you, this guy's one of the 5 best fighters pound for pound in the entire world. This is a fight he should win, and with the motivation even deeper now to shut Colby Covington the hell up, even with Donald Trump in attendance, which Covington says, I don't lose when Trump's in the building. I think this time he will Saturday night. Give me Edwards by decision.